Hey, thanks for watching my video. If you enjoy this content, please consider subscribing and leaving a like. Every bit of support is greatly appreciated. Now let's get to the video. Well guys, it's a 1-year anniversary of the Years in Animation series, and because I'm such a good guy, I left it up to you all. I really wanted to do a year that meant something amazing, something that could change the way we see animation. You guys chose 2003! Really? To celebrate 1 year of my most popular series on this channel, you guys chose 2003? A year that... Guys, nothing came out in 2003! When 2003 was the only year I could understand only 3 movies getting nominated for Best Animated Feature. Oh, dear God. This is seriously how we're going to celebrate the anniversary? Alright, let's get into it. Starting this year off, Pixar released for the year Finding Nemo. Of course, Finding Nemo ended up winning Best Animated Feature that year pretty much by default. The other 2 nominees weren't anything special. I certainly like Finding Nemo, and honestly I've grown to like it even more as I grow older. The film follows a clownfish named Nemo, who is the only surviving egg of his father Marlin's tragically killed wife. Such Marlin is very protective and barely lets him do anything fun. Well, when Nemo goes to school and tries to disobey his father, he gets captured by a scuba diver. Merlin teams up with a clueless fish named Dory, who is voiced by, oh god, that's not going to age well, to go and rescue him. Something I always liked about this film is the visuals. For 2003, this looked gorgeous. I know I've said that about a lot of 2000s Pixar films, but this one especially just looked beautiful and really makes you feel like you're underwater. I do like that Marlin is not an asshole. It would have been easy to make him unlikable because he's overprotective, but there is a good reason for him to be overprotective of Nemo, and it never feels like it's too forced. I also think that Nemo is an understandable character, being sheltered his whole life. He wants to see more of the world, but isn't aware of how dangerous it truly is. His whining is never seen as bratty, it actually really works. And let's address something with Dory. She's of course voiced by Ellen DeGeneres, and if you know who Ellen DeGeneres is, obviously that doesn't really hold up. But I give her credit, she's funny in this, and it's probably one of the highlights of the film. Next to these fish tank fish that all have very funny personalities. Honestly, I don't have that many issues with this one. If I had to say anything that really bugged me, maybe the last third was a bit rushed, I don't know. Alright, I'm pulling out my I grew up with it fuck you card. Brother Bear was probably one of the earliest memories of me watching a movie, and such, I do have a bit of a soft spot for it. Brother Bear is one of those films that I know isn't one of the Disney greats, but it's just a nice cozy film for me. Following Kenai, an Inuit tribe member who, after the death of his brother, goes on a spiritual journey by being turned into a bear. He meets a bear cub named Coda, who's just the most annoying little shithead in this movie, but we'll get to that eventually. A lot of people's issue is that while the first 20 minutes of this film is really good with great animation and gorgeous visuals, and of course that one song in the film done by the late great Tina Turner. Great spirits of all who live in store, take our hands and lead us. But when he gets turned into a bear, that's when the film usually loses its focus. I can't act like I don't agree, those first 20 minutes are fantastic, but I can't act like the rest of the film has nothing. Kenai is voiced by Joaquin Phoenix, and one of the only times he ever provided his voice for an animated project. I respect him for not wanting to do it anymore and wanting to focus on actual acting, but he is very funny in this. He's surprisingly smooth as VA. Also, as I've said countless times, the visuals are phenomenal, even after he gets turned into a bear. Taken from Inuit culture was a great move on Disney's part, they really nailed it. Also, for as little as we see him, I love Sitka. Seriously, I know he's supposed to die and that's what sends Kenai on this journey, but damn it, he's so likable. The Elder's funny as hell though.
There is no trading.
I also like some of the music. Phil Collins got a lot of hate for providing the music this time at a point where the pop culture song approach Disney was overdoing started to get old. But On My Way is very catchy, and I like Welcome, very underrated. The sad song is so lame, though. It's just Phil Collins telling us how to feel when it would have been just as acceptable to have Kenai actually telling Coda what happened. And on that note, let's talk about the very thing, the one thing that kills this film for so many people, hell, it almost kills it for me. Coda. Now, in most cases, a character like this makes sense in a movie like this. Coda's a bear cub who becomes a little brother to Kenai. We had to make that title work somehow. But god damn it, Coda is so obnoxious! This is coming from someone who likes this movie. Coda almost makes me hate it. Genuinely, I have a hard time getting into his specific scenes, and just letting y'all know, the kid from the Bernie Mac show voices him, and yeah, that kid also was really difficult in that show, so yeah, this didn't work at all. But other than that, I think this film is way better than it needs to be. And nothing I haven't seen before, but I got a soft spot for it.
This year, I lost my dear husband, Edgar.
Quit telling everyone I'm dead!
As I said, Winnie the Pooh was a weird property in the 2000s. We have Piglet's Big Movie this year, and yes, that is the Piglet's Big Movie that inspired a game I'm totally not talking about in October. While not as downright forgettable as Heffalump movie, I got very little on this one as well. It's cute, like most of these movies. But I think an issue is that Piglet as a side character has always worked. But as a main focus, let's just say Tigger had a movie first for a reason. I don't think it's bad, I just don't really care for it that much. Disney Channel had a big series this year with Lilo and Stitch the series. As I've said, Lilo and Stitch is my favorite animated movie. Such, I didn't know how to approach a show about it. Most of the time, Disney really nailed it with shows based on their movies, and thankfully, this is one of the best I've seen. It pretty much takes off from the pilot disguised as a DVD sequel, and has Lilo and Stitch find all the experiments like him and give them a proper home. Sort of a reverse Pokemon, as I very much love how Doug Walker describes it. A big thing I've always said with this movie is that you don't need the most complicated plot of all time 2025 remake. You just need to have these likable characters and likable scenarios. And that's exactly what this show does. Obviously, it doesn't have the detail or emotion of the movie, but you don't really expect that. Considering it's a Disney Channel show, they could have half-assed it, but I'm convinced they knew about how popular the franchise was and wanted to treat it with more respect than Hercules, that's for sure. For my money, I'd say that the Lilo and Stitch franchise remains a 99% good fucking remake. DreamWorks only had one release this year, and it was Sinbad. Pass. No, I have to talk about it. It's boring. It's the story of Sinbad, and while done with some decent animation, I mean, DreamWorks 2D films are a lost art. Prince of Egypt is one of their best, Road to El Dorado is heartbreakingly underrated, and Sinbad exists. I don't know, man, I have way more to say about DreamWorks films in 2016. That one's gonna be fire, by the way. Okay, so this one will be quick, but this was a 22-minute short film created by Adam Elliott, the guy who went on to direct Memoir of a Snail, and one of my personal favorite animated movies, Mary and Max. And it definitely shows he was kind of getting his footing still, but it's a really impressive short, and even won Best Animated Short at the Oscars that year. It doesn't have the lasting power of Mary and Max or Memoir of a Snail, but it's a fantastic short, and I recommend checking it out. Looney Tunes back in action from Warner Brothers Animation, the film that killed Warner Brothers Animation for a while. And looking back, I don't get it. I honest to dear God don't get it. I think this is one of the easily funniest Looney Tunes films out there. Shit, for my money, I'd say it's at least better than Space Jam. Oh Christ, I heard someone's butthole clench. Back in action follows Brendan Fraser. Before the whale, kill it with Darren Aronofsky, as he works at the Warner Brothers lot. However, he gets involved with Bugs and Daffy's lunacy when he finds out his father, who is a famous spy, that's one of those plots, is still alive and being kept prisoner by the worst possible thing a Looney Tunes movie could have, an unfunny Steve Martin. So he teams up with Bugs, Daffy, and a female lead that is absolutely memorable, and they go to save him and also find an artifact. It's a little stupid, but it's very funny. Frasier is so not believable with the Looney Tunes that it kind of works in a similar fashion to LeBron in A New Legacy. You know it's so ass, but it's kind of funny. Daffy is hilarious here and definitely highlighting how most Looney Tunes projects followed Bugs, when I'm sure at least most kids would prefer Daffy as the funnier lead. The third act is so bonkers, but very funny. It's a funny Looney Tunes movie. Makes me excited for Coyote vs. Acme. Oh yeah. Cartoon Network premiered Teen Titans. Jeans? Creamed. Such a great series. It's got action, comedy, drama, Beast Boy. You know the term, they don't make them like they used to? This show is proof of that. With insanely good chemistry between the teams, some great and funny moments, and a perfect blend of action, no doubt one of the best things Cartoon Network put out pre-regular show. Nickelodeon. I mean, I shouldn't be surprised it's named that, but really? Rugrats Go Fucking Wild? Did you not think about that title? You know what? No, they're babies. Yep, in 2003, Rugrats was on its last legs. It was official that Nickelodeon just couldn't hold on to it anymore. I mean, at one point, it was the longest running Nickelodeon series. Hey, thanks, SpongeBob! Such, we got one last film. And I gotta give credit, the Rugrats movies have been solid as hell up to this point. The first movie was a good blend of humor and light dramatic moments. The second movie is genuinely one of the best Nickelodeon movies in my opinion. And Go Wild exists. Of all the weird crossovers Nickelodeon has done with their characters, this one is so strange. Rugrats and Wild Thornberries? Why? Also, the dog is voiced by Bruce Willis. No, you're not over the hedge. You don't get to use Bruce Willis' talent. Stop it! Stop it! Stop! Rugrats Go Wild is such a weird crossover, and don't get me wrong, Nickelodeon can do good crossovers, but for some reason, they did every possible move that sucks for this film. They make the babies somehow more annoying than they usually are. They make everyone jerks to Stu, even though he's clearly just trying to help out. And the worst possible thing, they paired the worst character of each show together. Yep, Angelica and Debbie become a duo in this movie. And okay, Debbie isn't the worst character around, but pairing her with someone who is makes this one of the worst possible duos in Nickelodeon history. And mind you, this show exists.
Looking for a pet one day!
No.
But the one thing I can give this movie is that Tim Curry as Nigel, as always, is a highlight. And the animation at least looks on par with the other Rugrats films. But yeah, this was the straw that broke the baby's back. Truly the worst it could get for this series. Both series. Fuck it, I don't care. Oh my god, Nickelodeon! People liked Rugrats! Yep, the same year Nickelodeon killed any chance of future Rugrats movies, they also killed the chance of a decent spinoff. Now, give credit, this is a neat idea that in hindsight could work. Following the babies from Rugrats grown up into adolescents. I'm a sucker for stories that take characters that were known to be one age the entire time and aging them up. It creates a lot of great scenarios. The problem is that they take this idea and make it incredibly boring. There's surprisingly not a lot of interesting things that can come from the scenarios the former Rugrats get into. I guess it's cool to see their designs. Though, Nickelodeon, if you're implying that Dill would grow up to smoke dope, I kinda commend that. He seems like a baby that would. But surprisingly, it's not funny, and I always found that crazy because the idea is solid, but it's not good. Simple as that. Thank God Nickelodeon ended up putting out a show that was actually making up for the two mistakes. My life as a teenage robot follows, well, a teenage robot named Jenny. Trying to live a normal life, but being a little robot, she finds herself always saving the world somehow. Her friends I can't remember the name of, yeah, it's mostly about her, but give credit, they do make Jenny very likable. Had she been too whiny or bratty like a lot of shows write teenagers, I think this wouldn't have worked. The animation's a bit choppy, but it kind of works in a way. It kind of reminds me of Astro Boy. I don't know, it's a solid Nicktoon for the time period.
You wouldn't like my body. It's all circuity and
Pervert alert.
We end off this shorter year in animation with Tokyo Godfathers, my favorite film from the late great Satoshi Kon. I've talked about his previous film Perfect Blue, and while I agree that's probably the better of the two, my personal favorite is this one. I watched it a while back in preparation for my animated feature video, and honestly, I fell in love. It follows three homeless people finding a baby and trying to get it back to its parents. It's a simple story, but in execution, it's one of the coziest films I've ever watched. You know how people describe Animal Crossing and Stardew Valley as cozy games? We need to start labeling movies as cozy movies, because this and Muppets 2011 easily get labeled. It's a movie that just feels nice to watch. The three main characters are all very likable, although I buy these two being homeless, but this one, she seems too put together, I don't know. Satoshi Kon's films always have a unique look to them, which is very hard to do with this style. There really are no movies that look like this or Perfect Blue, and I always love the humor in this one. Perfect Blue earned it wasn't rated R, but it's not rated so it could be R, but this one was officially rated PG-13 and I always liked that. Finally, I have to mention how this movie helped me realize the difficulties of being a parent. Seeing these three homeless people go through this for a baby makes you realize, for the most part, parents are willing to go full sin for their children. Hell, this baby doesn't even belong to the homeless trio, and yet they go to great lengths. Oh god, it's so stupid. It's similar to the dynamic in the first Ice Age. It's clear the trio in that movie cared about that fuck-ass baby and wanted to help him out. Only here, it's, I don't know, good. I've grown to love this film. If Perfect Blue is his best film, this is my favorite film from Satoshi Kon. It sucks he passed away, as I can absolutely see him today rivaling the likes of Miyazaki. Oh my god, imagine one of his films coming out back in 2023 and competing with Boy and the Heron? That would be crazy. But I know he's looking down, and seeing Miyazaki and all these newer foreign animated films coming out, and I like to think he's got a big smile on his face.
Where are we going?
Did you ever hear the phrase, somewhere over the rainbow?
No.